Dinosaur National Monument is a really cool park in northeastern Utah and northwest Colorado. It covers the area around where the Yampa River joins the Green River. And these are two great rivers of the American West. The Green River continues south through Utah to connect with the Colorado River, and the Green River is the biggest tributary, or usually the biggest tributary of the Colorado River, which of course is the greatest river of the American West, or at least the Southwest, in my opinion. The park gets its name because this area has a tremendous store of dinosaur fossils, amazing dinosaur fossils. In fact, there's a location in the park called the Quarry Exhibit Hall where paleontologists, I think that's the term, have uncovered a wall of fossils. So basically they dug into the bedrock and they have left a wall with exposed dinosaur fossils. You can see full skeletons, heads, tails, arms and legs and everything. It's amazing. It really is super cool. But that's not the focus of this video. The focus of this video is the amazing rock art that ancient peoples have left here that we can still see preserved to this day. So the art here is attributed to the Fremont people or the Fremont culture. That's not what they call themselves, but that's just name of a guy who I assume learned about this group of people maybe a couple hundred years ago. But the Fremont people lived in this area about 1,000 years ago, and they left evidence of their presence in the form of petroglyphs and pictographs. Looks like an old ruin over here. So the pictographs, since that's just pigment left on rock, they don't preserve very well. So most of the rock art here is petroglyphs, which is when you carve or etch into the stone itself. In the Dinosaur National Monument area, the evidence of the Fremont people dates from about 200 AD to about 1300 AD. That means that a lot of the petroglyphs here are over 1,000 years old, which is super cool. The style and content of the designs of the art vary throughout this region, but the Vernal Classic Style is the dominant style in Dinosaur National Monument. It's characterized by human-like figures that have trapezoidal bodies with broad shoulders that taper down to thin waists and may or may not include arms, legs, fingers, toes, and other body parts. The figures are often adorned with designs that suggest headdresses, earrings, necklaces, shields, and other objects. The style also includes many animal-like figures, as well as complex, abstract designs. The animal figures include bighorn sheep, elk, deer, dogs, birds, snakes, lizards, and more abstract animal-like shapes. Purely abstract or geometric designs are also common, like circles, spirals, and various combinations of lines. Why did the Fremont create the designs, and what do they mean, though? Well, that's the big mystery, and that's what I always wonder. I try to imagine what was going through their minds, what was going through the artists' minds when they were creating this rock art. And the bottom line is we really don't know. The images may have been related to hunting, clan identification, territorial marking, ceremonial or religious purposes, maps or wayfinding, record keeping, or just purely for leisure or artistic expression. We don't know their exact intent, but we can speak with modern Native American groups like the Ute and other descendants of the Fremont peoples to try to gain understanding into their meaning and purpose, but still it's sort of just speculation. There were a lot of really interesting designs that were repeated throughout the various panels, and I wasn't sure what to make of them. They looked like arenas, or also maybe necklaces, or maybe they were maps, I don't know, but there were a lot of repeated designs that were interesting and that I have never seen outside of this region. Of course, some of the designs were very straightforward and something you would see maybe outside of this region, like the lizards, like the bighorn sheep, like the spirals, and more. But Dinosaur National Monument doesn't just have these ancient relics. There are some more modern relics. Josie Bassett Morris, her cabin you can visit here in Dinosaur National Monument. She was kind of a rancher, kind of an outlaw, kind of a Renaissance woman, a very progressive woman for the time. She was a free spirit. She married 5 times, and she divorced 4 husbands at a time when divorce was pretty much unheard of. But she was very independent, and she had a homestead here. She started her homestead in Cub Creek in 1913. She built her cabin here. She lived on the homestead for over 50 years. For a time, she shared the home with her son, Crawford, and his wife, and at times grandkids spent their summers working and playing on the homestead. It's cool because Josie was raised on the frontier, but she survived into the modern era. So she was kind of like a link, a connection to a world past. During Prohibition in the 1920s and 30s, she brewed apricot brandy and choke cherry wine. After a lifetime of dressing in skirts, she switched to wearing pants in her later years. She was tried and acquitted twice for cattle rustling when she was in her 60s, and at the age of 71, in an ambitious move to revive a profitable cattle business, she deeded her land away and lost all but the 5 acres where her cabin still stands. And in 1963, she suffered a broken hip while in her cabin, and then that resulted in her death